Okay, so hi everyone, welcome on board. This is Anisha here, and today I have with me Arjun, who's a CAT 99.88 percentiler who has got through SPGen, didn't take it. We'll ask him his story about the same. So, welcome on board, Arjun.
Thank you. Thanks. Thank you, Anisha, for having me.
Lovely. So, tell us a little bit about your profile and your background before you got into this whole drill of preparing for MBA exams.
So I am actually an engineer from TSEC, Thadumal Shani Engineering College from Bombay. After I graduated in 2018 in electronics and telecommunication. I worked at PwC thereafter as a data analyst for about a couple of years. And I mean, the interesting part is that I was supposed to go for my master's last April, but because of COVID, plans had to change a little. So I decided to sit for CAT in June last year.
Okay.
And yeah, here we are after the entire season of interviews and testing.
You started your prep in June. From June
Yeah.
till November, what was your strategy, or what do you attribute your success to getting 99.88?
The first thing was, okay, I remember I started on June 16th, and the first thing I did was take a mock. I joined, there are many coaching classes. You can just make a account on one of them, and I just took a diagnostic mock to see where I stood. In my case, I actually took CAT 2017, I think first slot, and I didn't get a good score. It was around 84th percentile, but the entire idea was to know where I stand, like what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses. I have been reading a lot since I was a kid. So it's been 8 to 10 years of reading now. So I was fairly comfortable with VARC. DILR was completely new to me. I did not know how to attempt that. So it was an eye opener. And I think I'm fairly good in math. So QA also wasn't that challenging. I also come from an engineering background. So, basically engineers have a preset idea of how to approach mathematics. What I actually did was I started tracking my performance very diligently. I had prepared an Excel file in which I was not only, logging my scores, I was logging what kind of questions I was attempting the most and where I was most accurate and where I was most inaccurate. There were instances where I was attempting too many questions from a particular focus group, but I was quite inaccurate. There were instances where I wasn't attempting enough, but I was quite accurate. So I think I followed a very logical and emotion-less approach to my preparation. And even if I knew that, okay, Arjun, you're good at profit and loss and stuff like that, I wanted the numbers to tell me that story. And so yeah, that was my aim. I had these percentile targets in mind for the mocks. Every month I wanted to improve. And towards the end, when we realized in September, I think that the paper is a 2-hour paper. By end of October, my mind was set that I need to score around 140. Like that's where I need to be at to get a desired percentile, to get my desired percentile. And like I said, like I had a couple of admissions from last year from MS which are deferred. So I was just looking at the top 5 or 6 institutes. That's it. So again, my percentile aim, everything was tailored to that. My profile from 10th, my 10th percentage wasn't that good, 87. So I had to compensate for that and stuff. So I had a very focused aim for my percentile. That's why my target was very high, and that's what I was trying to achieve. So that was how I prepared.
That's lovely. I like the whole approach that, you say it should be emotionless, and also at the same time, start by analyzing where you stand. I think that emotionless part is very, very important, especially for even the exam the day. Because many a times what happens is typical engineers like maths, mujhe to ye aata hi hai. How can I not do this question? And if you get into that rut, you're dead.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I think it helped me. That mindset helped me a lot on the day of the CAT. I was in slot 3. So you may have heard and read that DILR was pathetic. It was terrible. By the end of it's a very interesting story. By the end of the entire CAT journey, throughout my mocks, I had reached a point in DILR where I knew that, okay, if I take down 2 sets in the first 10-15 minutes, I'm set for a great paper. That would always happen. What happened on CAT was I did get done with 2 sets in the first 15 minutes, but I couldn't do much for the next 25. It was very difficult. The paper was extremely challenging. But the emotionless part comes in. I didn't let that affect my QA. I ensured that I went in with a clean slate for QA. So I was not perturbed when I took QA after that. So yeah, that's quite important.
I think that's very, very important to stay grounded and, focus on every section. Take it with a pinch of salt, no matter what happens in the first. Sometimes that affects because, you start with verbal. And if it doesn't start on a good
Yeah,
note, you don't let the other things get affected. Anything could happen in different sections,
yeah,
which is there. So that's
exactly.
any parting thoughts and tips or strategy, Arjun, from you to get a 99 percentile in CAT?
Um, there are, I mean, obviously, section by section for VARC, people need to have a decent reading speed. That's where they miss out on. I had the benefit of being a somewhat voracious reader for a long time, newspapers and books. So I was comfortable with reading a passage in 3 minutes and then going to the questions. What happens is people usually spend a lot of time reading it, comprehending it, and then moving to the questions. So there is that fear. So I think people should start reading as much as they can, or at least start reading what they like. If you are into sports, start reading something about sports. If you like science fiction, read science fiction books, but just develop a habit of reading. Second, DILR, it's all about strategy. You need to choose the right sets. So I think it boils down to practice, but practice under timed conditions, not practice for practice's sake. So that's the second thing. And for QA, I mean, it's straightforward. Preparation for QA is straightforward. It just you just seem that you just feel that it's a lot to prepare for, but it's straightforward. One thing I would say is, I guess you guys people should focus on increasing the speed of their calculations. That is important because as even as engineers, you are now used to 4 years of using the calculator for something simple as 100 multiplied by 25 or something. You use a calculator even during those examinations. So you need to get out of that habit a little bit. So improve your calculations, basic tables and stuff. So that would really go a long way. I think that those would be my three suggestions.
That's really amazing. So thank you so much, Arjun, for sharing your CAT strategy with all of us.
Most welcome.